When I was in seminary about 22 years ago, Father John, who was the administrator, after coming back from the dentist, it was his turn to give a homily at the Mass. So he has some reflection about toothache and talking about the bacteria and parasites. You must have already seen the news, the leak from the Supreme Court about the Roe v. Wade, and now Supreme Court is under preventive measure with the fencing and things going on, and Joe Biden, the president, made comments, and many who are pro-life believe that this leak inciting the people, their angers and whatever violence they are going to make, it is a kind of a plot. And we also see within a few hours later on, the churches in Denver were attacked. They tried to stop the Mass. They vandalized the building, even on the church door. My body is my church. And I couldn't read all of them. So there are a lot of things. Immediately people are responding. We just celebrated the Holy Week and Easter. Even a lot of reflection, if you were listening to me, with Pilate and Caiaphas and Annas and all these figures at the time, and think of our own society and the challenge. We have a lot of parasites in the communities. People in the United States, as great as they are, but we also begin to see the community of parasites. What is parasites? Small animals or plants living on other better, bigger plants and sucking their life and surviving on them. We see that move for many years and now kind of out of control. And even think of during COVID, a lot of people stopped going to work, and even when everything is back to normal, people stop going back to work because the government keep on supporting them. And we have in our own country communities here, small places, we have that problem. We don't have enough workers. For example, in Colony, the restaurants shut down because they couldn't get waiters. Why? The system is supporting that parasites. If we look at the readings today, the first reading, Peter began to take over the church. He was asked by Jesus to lead the church, and it was very clear even before Jesus suffered and died. The disciples knew that Peter was the head. And Jesus said, if you believe, you will see greater things, and you will be doing greater things. And we see in the person of Peter exactly that promise of Jesus being fulfilled. Even people were seeking that the shadow may fall because miracles were taking place. So miracles were needed at the beginning of the church as a part of speeding up the process. But now you don't see that type of miracles with the bishops or priests or even lay people. Certain things are still going on, but not that common anymore. But what would be the miracles that we as a church, as a Christians, that we have to look forward so that the church will continue to survive and also thrive? Because we have a lot of these parasites in the country and people around us. They live on us and they suck away the life out of it. And if you do not take care, like toothache, you have to lose your tooth. They come into as bacteria but start living on the blood and flesh of your mouth, and towards the end you lose everything that is good. The same thing in the church. And I see that with Pontius Pilate. His survival was not the law. His survival was the crowd. He has to please the crowd so that he would survive. Same thing with Caiaphas. His survival was not the law. His survival was his father-in-law, Annas. He controlled him, although he was out of office already, controlling the son-in-law. And we see that, and that's why John F. Kennedy, his famous speech, ask not what your country would do for you. Ask what would you do for your country. It's exactly that. And now, whenever you see this type of violence and vandalizing places, all those people are not doctors, not engineers, not pilots, not farmers, not business owner. They are from parasite communities. They're surviving with some free stuff and begin to destroy from within the church or even the constitution or whatever it is. And if we look at Joe Biden or anybody in the office, in the power, they are surviving through them, like Pilate, like Caiaphas. They have to please them so that they survive. And whereas the church needs that courage, when we say the church, the bishop, the priest, the faithful needs courage, because we don't survive like that. I don't need to survive by pleasing the people, pleasing the ears of the parishioners on Saturday, Sunday. I don't need to offend. I have to say the truth, but I don't need to please people by preaching what they want to hear. I have to preach what I am supposed to preach. And sadly, some archbishops, some bishops have fallen into that trap, especially in those crazy big cities and towns. They try to please the people. They try to please the city and avoiding the conflicts. And I was reflecting this morning, if I were a pastor of that church in Denver, what would I do? Of course, Bishop will give the direction. But if I have a freedom, I will leave those writings on the doors and on the walls of the church as it is. Because people, the community, have to see it, and we have to educate through this that if a church can be vandalized, your individuals' homes can be vandalized, and nobody will defend that. If you are happy and pleased that the church is vandalized, then be ready when somebody come and vandalize your family and your home. Have enough courage to face that.